I've always put up my fences, held my defenses in front of me, not knowing my heart was in prison, till you gave me wisdom to find the key. I'm ready to begin. I'm open to love's coming in when you move through me, when you move through me. You give me the confidence to take back my innocence through me. I've always lived in delusion, trapped in illusion of doubt and fear, not knowing that change won't come my way till I drive a highway free and clear from all my regrets. I'm open to what's coming next. When you move through me, when you move through me, oh, you give me the confidence to take back my innocence through me. I am tired of all my excuses, and I close my eyes, and the one thing I know that's true, there's nothing that I can't do. When you move through me, when you move through me, oh, you give me the confidence to take back my innocence. When you move through me, when you move through me, oh, you give me the confidence to take back my innocence through me. Through me.
Please pray with me. There is but one God, one life, and that life is joyously mine in the right here and the right now. I know that Spirit moves, breathes, and has its being in everything that is. And where I find such joy of watching that demonstrated is in the love I feel, the love I receive, the beauty of nature, the smile on a small child's face, the laughter, the beautiful flowers today, the warm weather after such a cold chill, all expressing itself so divinely. And I realize this day, in this community, who is in the throes of evolving and unfolding exactly the way that we have designed, it is by divine timing and divine planning. And I'm so grateful for this community of a new dawn as we have it now with so many volunteers, the AV and music team, my fellow practitioners, all the volunteers who make it happen, getting the tables together, all the literature, making sure that everything is in its place so that we merely show up in this temple of God, where Reverend Jen leads us so fearlessly from her belief, her strength, and her voice heard on high. And I know for anyone feeling any pain over the recent chaos in this thing we call planet Earth, all appearances of what can go wrong, that has gone wrong, that we judge, know that it is indeed in Spirit's hand. And how we clear this on a personal level is on our own. And to hold no enemies and to love all that is. I'm so grateful to be able to say this on behalf of my community here, New Dawn, for anyone who may be communing with us walking in nature, joining us online at a later time, wherever you are, you can be transported here right now. And I give thanks, knowing that I can now release and let go. And together we say, and so it is. Today's topic is Welcome to the Temple. And I always default to the dictionary. So a couple of examples out of that are, some gospel ordinances and covenants are so sacred that God permits us to receive them only in special places called temples. The temple is literally a house of the Lord, a holy place, set apart from the rest of the world. This term is used in Judaism, Islam, and by the Mormons, while traditional Christians generally use the term church. From the Science of Mind magazine, I changed it just today because I was so moved by today's offering by Reverend Dr. David Alt. Renee Delibitz wrote, quote, "If you pass into the inner temple, you must leave no enemies behind," end of quote. This inner temple references the Sacred Heart, the portal of boundless and compassionate love. As we enter the opportunity to awaken an experience of healing through our human and mystical awareness, we must not exclude anyone from our gratitude. Any thoughts of anything or anyone as an enemy, as our teaching describes, quote, "are outside the law and cannot be taken into heavenly consciousness," end of quote. And from our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, he was speaking to the example of the prodigal son. The returning son found nothing had changed, and he was made welcome. We may have appeared to be away, yet Spirit has ever remained the same and ever ready to reveal itself to us. We need only turn to it, and it will turn to us. For the truth is changeless. Reality cannot come and go. Always here, ready to spring forth into expression. No matter how long a room may have been darkened, the entrance light illuminates it. The Father's house is always open, and you are welcome.
Each one of us came into this life expression, and we received an incredible gift. We actually received quite a number of them, but the one I want to talk about today is that form, that body temple that holds you. That the part of you that is you, that presence, that energy, that soul, that spirit, that personality, whatever words we want to attach to it, it lives within a physical form. It's often called the body temple. I want to talk about this today because I think we have lost sight of just how sacred we are. We have forgotten that we were created in divine perfection, by perfection, to go forward and enjoy life and express love and connect with others. And we were also given a wonderful, wonderful responsibility to take care of this form that we live in. And that's the piece we keep forgetting about. I know this because I've been testing it. And I can forget about taking care of me just like that. So this month we're talking about the body. The physical body. Not only the physical body, this body, but the physical body. The community, the body, planet Earth, the people, all of it. And today our talk title is Welcome to the Temple. Welcome to the temple. So we're going to continue this idea that we've been doing for this year of living in everyday wonder. And be conscious and conscientious of our body. Are you living in everyday wonder? I've been testing that one too. So anyway, I came around the wall of my room. I have two little, I have a prayer and a little quote right next to my bed. It's kind of, when I get up, I can see it if I'm looking at it. And when I go to bed, I can see it. I can read it before I go to bed, which was a great idea. However many months ago, I put it up there. I don't even notice it. But today I did. And today I was reading the quote and it said, I can't even remember exactly what it said, but it said something about the fact that I cherish the regular in the everyday miracles. I celebrate the things that just don't seem like they're that big a deal, but they are. And this body, this being that's carrying us around, that's moving some days better than others, is a part of that miracle. How we were designed, how we were created, all of the amazing things. You can go on a binge if you want to. We're going to talk about food binging. You can go on a binge if you want to. You can eat junk food for, I don't know, however long you want to. The results may not seem instantaneous to you. That's our challenge. That's why there's so many diets out there that say, you can have a day off. You can stay on this diet for 6 days, and then you can have a day where you can eat whatever you want. Did you ever go on one of those? I went on one of those, and the first day I decided to eat whatever I want, I was sick within a couple hours. Because I'm thinking, I only got today to cram all this junk food in that I've been thinking about all week. Oh my gosh. So the thing we want to look at is, you might not be aware of the impact it's having to you in this moment, but I want you to start being aware. And just like last month when we talked about the emotions, we get hit with something, some kind of energy shows up, some kind of situation, circumstance, condition, and we walk away from it, and we have had an emotional reaction, but we're not paying attention to it. And so now we get to not only pay attention to that and all the wonderful things we learned last month, but we also get to pay attention to what is it doing in the physical being. You were created in God's perfection. That's something to pay attention to, and that's something to take care of. And then to remember that we are one in body, mind, and spirit. Joel Goldsmith said this amazing quote. The truth about you is that you are a child of God. God has expressed itself on earth individually as you. The life which is God is your individual life, and it is eternal and immortal. God is your very being, and even your body is a temple of the living God. Wow. I think a lot of responsibility kind of lands on our shoulders with that, unless we've been taking really good care of that body of the living God. So one of the things that came up for me as I read this quote was that we've been hearing these words for many of us since the day we were born. The collective consciousness that's out there has been hearing them forever. But we've been discounting it and discrediting it. We've been tuning it out. Yeah, well, that's not me. Maybe not me. Maybe not me today. And the truth is, it's you. It's each one of us. It's every day. Every day we live in that place of perfection. So the thing I want you to get today more than anything else is stop pretending I'm not talking about you. I love it when you come to me after services and say, oh my gosh, you looked right at me. I knew you were talking to me and whatever. But this I want you to get. This one I want you to hear. This is you. You, each and every one of you. Each and every one of you who is listening to this talk online, or you've heard comments from somebody else, get that idea, that message that says, you are perfect. Stop downsizing your worth. Stop it. Cut out on the calories, but remember that you're worthy. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to those messages. Because those are the things we need to know. Those are the things we need to be a part of and participate in if we're going to go out there and celebrate diversity with the rest of the planet. If we're going to be strong enough to hold our arms out to every single person who's hurting, who's grieving, who has suffered incredible loss. If my physical body isn't up to it, I'm not going to be much good to you. Stop downsizing your worth. I have a quote from Walt Whitman that says, if life and the soul are sacred, then the human body is sacred. So let's get down to some of the nitty-gritty. We ignore our bodies. Many of us, well, I think we're all probably aging, so it just depends on what level of the spectrum you're on. We're all kind of aging together. But we try to ignore it. We try to disregard it. We try to pretend it's not happening. I had a brilliant idea yesterday. I was going to go outside and pull the weeds in my backyard. I was out there for, 5 minutes, maybe? I discovered that the weeds were a lot stronger than I wanted to be at that moment in time, that I might need a few devices or a few additional tools to use to do what I was going to do, and that at 2:00 in the afternoon, when the sun is shining directly on my backyard, is possibly not the best time. And I packed up all my stuff and I went back in the house. Understand and pay attention to your restrictions, to what your body needs, what your body's asking for. That's important, because what we do is we push and we keep pushing, and we decide that we're so dang tired we can't hardly speak in complete sentences, and we've been working all day and we've been doing all this, and we've been dealing with all this emotional stuff, but I can just get this one more thing done. I can just get this one more phone call handled. I can just send out this email. Oh no, that's a bad choice. Don't push yourself. Allow yourself to be. And one of the things that I've been going through this past week is to pay attention to the fact that, okay, I'm tired. Instead of giving myself grief because why am I tired, why don't I just rest and honor myself for resting? So even when we're not physically doing something, we're mentally creating some anguish around the whole body concept. We're going to let go of the too fat, too thin, too tall, too old, too bald, too much, can't grow a beard. I don't know, whatever those things are, all those dynamics you grew up with, all of the criteria, all the things we see everywhere you look about what the physical being is to look like. And let's start celebrating how uniquely different we are in our physical aspect. Oh my goodness, what an incredible concept to just start looking at how can I celebrate this person who doesn't look like me, chances are good doesn't act like me, may not eat like I do, may not have the same kind of spiritual practices I do. How about if we learn how to celebrate that? I'd say put the magazines down, but I don't even know if anybody buys magazines anymore. I know I still see them at the store, but those aren't the pushers for us anymore. The thing that's trying to tell us what we're supposed to look like and how we're supposed to be, that's coming from social media, that's coming from the television, that's coming from anybody that's talking to you, because it's just so common in our conversations and in our language. If there's one thing you can do this week for yourself, it's to take a few minutes in time to love you the way you are right now. Right now. The physical look of you. That whole piece. There's this amazing book that was written a really long time ago. It's called the Bible. I'm sure you've heard of it. And in the Bible, there is a section called the New Testament. And the Bible, many of you know, has had multiple authors, and all written at different times, and all talking about things that happened years and years before. But I want to talk about this one little piece. Paul, who was one of the apostles, wrote a lot of letters in the New Testament. And in the book of 1st and 2nd Corinthians, he wrote letters to the church at Corinth. Now, I don't know how this worked out. It sounds like he went there and he was preaching to the people and teaching the people about salvation and God and all of the wonderful things, that they needed to do differently than what they had done before. And then when you read these scriptures of these letters, it sounds like he's responding to requests or questions, but you don't know what the questions are. You might want to take a little time with it, because I took a little time with it. And so he's kind of responding. What he's telling them in the book of Corinthians is he's saying to the people of the church of Corinth, he said, I've been talking to you as if you're a baby, as if you're an infant, not as though you are a spiritual being. Then he goes on to explain why. Because they didn't get it. They didn't understand the spiritual context of who they were. And so he said, it's like I'm feeding you milk, like mother's milk. We've been taking this to the basics so that you can understand. And so that you can see that, God is a different entity and an energy than what you've been looking at or worshiping in the past with some of your idol worship and some of these other things. And he's going through this whole process. And in the book of, in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, he says, do you not know that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? So the whole point he's trying to make to these people is you're holy and you're sacred. And you didn't get that before because we weren't teaching that to you before. The ministers weren't there, weren't available. Now we're out here doing this work, telling you, and you got to get this. My friends, you are not human and divine. We are divinely human. There's no separation from that. You cannot take the Creator that created us and separated it from who we are. It's in our DNA, right? So this is something to really pay attention to, is the fact that we are in God, of God, as God. Spirit is within us. We are divine. The temple. God dwells in the temple. And when 10, 20, 30, 50, 5,000 of us come together, the temple is larger. And if this temple right here, this individual piece, presence of who I am is sacred, then when we get together in volume, it is still sacred, right? And the thing that we want to keep in mind is that when we get together in sacred service, we create a place of safety for all people to come. This room gets to be safe. Our new location gets to be safe so that anyone who comes in is feeling welcome, loved, and supported, and respected. Everyone. We had a situation in the center in Colorado Springs years ago where a homeless man just wandered into the building. And everybody got really excited because, and I don't even know that he was homeless. I don't know if anybody even asked him if he had a home. He had a look to him. The thing that the people were the most upset about was he walked in the door, walked down towards the sanctuary, and was incredibly loud and was talking in a loud voice. I hope and pray that the day comes when someone wanders into our community service and starts speaking in a loud voice because they need our help and support, that I am ready to stop what I'm doing and we are prepared to care for that person. Nothing is more important. Nothing is more important than to address the individual, the God being within, that beautiful presence. There's a story about 3 brick masons. And they were working in doing what they do. Masonry, brick stuff, clay, water, all that stuff. And someone came up to them and asked them, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you building?" And the first guy says quite gruffly, "I'm laying bricks." And the individual says to the second one, "And you?" And he says, "Well, I'm building a wall." And he says to the third person says, "Well, I'm building a cathedral." What are you building in your body temple? What are we, as the New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living, building in the community of Aurora and in Denver and Colorado and anywhere else that we can serve? What are we building? Are we just laying bricks? Laying bricks is cool, I'm assuming. I don't know that it takes a lot of imagination. Maybe it does. But my thinking is, I want to be with the group that's building a cathedral. I want to be a part of the group and the energy that is creating a sacred space for all people to come and be loved and honored. That's what I want to be a part of. So I just offer you that little example because it's so interesting that sometimes we think we're just cooking eggs, just making eggs. Well, maybe you're making eggs, but maybe you are feeding a family. Maybe you are giving the physical body the nourishment it needs, which also gives this amazing, incredible thing called a brain the nourishment it needs as well. So this week I encourage you to honor the body temple, to honor that part of who you are. I have a quote from Kimberly Crenshaw that says, "To build a world that works for everyone, we must first make the radical decision to love every facet of ourselves." I have a quote on the screen that is a monkey looking in a mirror. It doesn't mean that there is a part of you that is a monkey. I just thought it was a cute picture. What would it be like to love every facet of who you are this week? What would it be like to walk out of here today and really love yourself? Every comment you make, every question you have, every idea that comes to you is all about support, love, appreciation. How beautiful. Our bodies are not simply living machines. They are the temples that house our soul, our spirit, our very being. They are a part of the spiritual context of who we are. That goes to say that if my body is sacred and my body is a temple, then possibly the place where I live is also sacred. And the place where I go to travel from one location to another, which is, her name is Gertie, that's my car, is also sacred. And then if we start to carry this, if we start to wear this idea of sacredness, of holiness, if that's the term you want to use, there isn't going to be a single person we come in contact with that isn't going to get a sense of that also, right? There's a huge cry around this planet right now that we've got to make some changes. And I'm here to tell you, I'm ready. I'm ready to help any way I can, support any way I can, paint the signs, lead the march, whatever it takes. I'm ready to do that. And yet I know that if I don't start here, it's never going to go anywhere with me. So let's start here with this body temple. Dr. Ernest Holmes, oh, that's cute on the quote. I cut off his name. It just says Dr. Ernest. Oh, I like that. In his book, The Essential Ernest Holmes, there is a story that this quote sparked for me. Now, this quote is actually from Thoughts or Things by Holmes, but I'm going to read you this quote and then I want to tell you a little bit about the story in The Essential Ernest Holmes. The body is a temple of the living spirit. It is spiritual substance. Since the Spirit of God has entered into your being, your life is spiritual. The Supreme Being, ever present, exists at the very center of your thought. This presence within you has the power to make all things new. Okay, so now we got it. We've got that our body is the temple, spirit lives within us, we're that spirit expressing. We've got the power. So in the Essential Ernest Holmes, there is a section in the book that's called The Body of God. And Holmes is talking about this idea of the body and the temple. And he's talking about the fact that we have to have form. That is where the manifestation comes from. That is where that creation comes from, when we actually see it in form. If it wasn't anything in form, then reality would be very distorted for us. The perception would be very different than what it is and what we see today. The thing we need to know is that even though we are created in that perfect image, we have immortality. The soul never dies. There has to be a beginning and an end in the world of form. So in the world of form, we are born into this space, and at some point in time, we leave. Beginning, end. Only it's not. Because that eternality that we all get to experience started before we came into this particular body and will continue on when we leave it. This is what we believe. So to pay attention to that and to look at that, he talks about the fact that if we didn't have that, if we didn't have this kind of time frame, if we didn't have this kind of timeline, if we didn't have this beginning and end idea and we couldn't see the reality of it manifesting in front of us, if we didn't do that, we would be living in a dream world where nothing ever comes to fruition. It's all just kind of illusionary. So in his scientific mindset, Holmes is explaining to us a scientific concept about spirit within the being and why God is expressing in form through each and every one of us. It has no other way, by its own design, to express other than through form. And so looking at that just kind of brings us back to this whole idea that we want to move past that idea that there's a beginning and an end that connotates limitation to some degree. So we want to pay attention to that. Move more into the eternality piece, but also know that there's form and also know that there's the ability to manifest. There's the power, the presence. And what am I doing with that? And what am I doing with that in my own body? And am I creating a body that's going to carry me through to complete all of the things that I want to complete on planet Earth? Because we all came here with a list. You came here with a list, right? You guys all have your list? Everybody have one? Well, maybe it didn't come to you in the form of a list. But let me just say this. You did agree to it. Yes, you did. At some point in time, we all had an agreement as to what we were going to do, what was the work we were going to do here. Or maybe not so much what was the work we were going to do here. What did I need to learn here? Because this is the big educational part of the universe, is Earth, planet Earth. This is where we come to get an education. This is where we come to learn about stuff. That is the whole purpose. So what did we come here to learn? Soul and body. Soul and body. Take time this week to really listen to your heart. Pay attention to what's going on within you as you talk about that, and recognizing that this physical form that you look at in the mirror every day and possibly discount, discredit, or berate, if you're normal, you have tendencies to do that, is perfection, is holy, is temple, is the temple. I found a quote from a man by the name of Ken Wilber. He wrote a book called No Boundary. It says, your basic awareness and your very identity is without boundaries. Your basic identity spans the entire spectrum of consciousness, from matter to body to mind to soul to spirit. And thus, in the deepest and highest part of you, you embrace the all. Wow, it's a pretty powerful quote. We embrace the all. We embrace the idea to recognize everyday miracles. We have the right to feel worthy. We have the right to know that we are of value. Let's take some time with this week and move into that space. If you have an interaction with someone and you feel discredited or unheard, perhaps you need to reevaluate the relationship, or you need to seek out someone who can hear you and support you. There's all kinds of evidences that come up for us as we go through life. But here's the challenge we each have. If you're the guy that's staring at that person in the mirror, the being that's staring at the being in the mirror, and you're berating that being, it's going to be hard to get away from that. It's going to be hard to change that relationship unless you're willing to do the work. So this week, let's start that as we go into this month of paying attention to the body. So let's just embrace the highest part of who we are as we go within. Please join me in prayer. What we know right here and right now is that there is a power, a presence, a being, an energy, that divine intelligence. We call it God, we call it good, we call it spirit. We have so many names for it, and it's that one perfection, that perfect being that permeates all life, that energy that touches everything, that has always been here and always will be here with us and within us. What we get to realize and recognize right now today is that that power within us is our power too. We cannot separate ourselves from spirit. We cannot separate ourselves from that God beingness. We are divinely human and we are humanly divine, and it's just one. And it's perfect and it's good. And this week, as we embrace this idea, as we hold on to this, as we attach ourselves to this knowingness, to this truth, we do so with joy, with appreciation for all that we have and all that we are and all that we are able to do. We do this with gratitude for all that we have been given, this beautiful body temple, and the sacred space in which we worship, and the new sacred space that is already on its way to us. We celebrate all of this. How blessed we are. How incredible it is to know these things that are all good and all God. And so this week, I know that each and every one who hears these words takes time to just love the self, to appreciate and support the body, the being, knowing that it is all, we are all wrapped up into one big, beautiful package of spirit expressing. So we just let it go. We let it go, we let it be, we let it allow it to be the perfection it was designed to be. Releasing these words unto the law of mind, we all say together in one voice, and so it is.
Oh, welcome to the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary. You don't have to worry, just come on in. Welcome to the presence. Welcome to the family. You know, you don't have to hesitate, just come on in. Oh, come on in and sit down. I saw you peeking through the window. Bet you're wondering what's going on. So quit your sneaking around. This is where you belong. Open up the doors now into the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary. You don't have to worry, just come on in. Welcome to the presence. Welcome to the family. You know, you don't have to hesitate, just come on in. Yeah, come on in and sit down. Now, did you notice all the love around you? And did you hear all the voices raised in song? Hope you catch yourself dancing and singing along. Let your body know. Welcome to the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary. You don't have to worry, just come on in. Welcome to the presence. Welcome to the family. No, you don't have to hesitate, just come on in. Yeah, come on in and sit down. Oh, to the beat now. Welcome, welcome, come on in. Welcome, welcome, come on in. Sing it with me, come on. Welcome, come on in. Welcome, welcome, come on in. Everybody, welcome, welcome, come on in. Welcome, welcome, come on in. Welcome, welcome, come on in, yeah. Yeah, come on, welcome to the temple.
Ken Jensen and John Olson. Now that John has found his way home, he'll be with us more often, I'm sure, in the future. Thank you for being here. And Ken, thank you again. It is time for our offering. And if you will prepare your offering or put it in your hand, place it over your heart. Just breathe into this. Knowing that whatever we give comes back to us. It is so amazing how quickly we can give a kind word to someone and someone comes back with something kind to say to us. And it's the same way when we work with money, because money is God in action. So when we give financially, it returns to us in many ways. And so you are all blessed for being a part of this and being a part of this process. Let's speak our affirmation blessing together right now. Joyously, I give this gift, knowing the presence of God blesses and multiplies all I am, all I have, all I give, and all I receive. And so it is.
Hello, I'm Reverend Jen Wild, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.